How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. A little bit of not only double, verging on Imperial IPA time, barrel aged. Don't see that a lot of times. Barrel aged, hopped up, double and triple goodness, in the hopeful goodness. We don't know it yet. In the form of Swamphead Brewing's 10-10-10 barrel aged. Super excited to give this a whirl. You don't encounter a ton of barrel-aged hop-forward beers because not a lot of people dig on that stuff, but I do. I've had a couple. I shouldn't say I do. I dig on aged IPAs if they're done right, or aged hopped-up beers. I should say that more than actually IPAs, because once you start aging it and stuff like that, I feel like it kind of gets into its own realm. 120 Dogfish is one of my favorite beers. Not fresh, but old. I like that about 5 to 10 years on it. So hopefully this kind of, not mimics that, but kind of tickles the same kind of heart chords on that sucker. So anyway, let's read what's on the bottle. As far as what it says on the bottle, it says Swamphead Brewing, elusive, reclusive. Don't know what that means. Barrel aged 10-10-10, Imperial India Pale Ale, 10% alcohol by volume. On the side here it says fertilized for the hops lover soul. This barrel aged version of 10-10-10 naturally takes this explosive beer to a whole new level of excess. The barrels have held some of Kentucky's finest bourbon for years. Aging 10-10-10 in these barrels imparts notes of bourbon, oak, vanilla, and complement the rich malt character in profusion of hop flavors. This is barreled. Let's see, Best Buy. It's weird. It's kind of like a weird date code on the side here. It has a B date code and an X. Now B, it says 04/28/18. I don't know what that means because it's not 2018 yet. It's 2017. It says X 04/28/2017. I mean, that could be its actual like born on date when it actually went into the bottles. I'm assuming that is what it is, but yeah, whatever. We'll skip over that. And that's pretty much it. Brewery stuff, yada, yada, yada. And Lid Blaze, it's okay. Doesn't blow me away. I dig it, but at the same time, doesn't blow me away. It's all good. So hopefully the beer does, though. That would be a good thing. I was lucky enough, I had an actual viewer that watches the reviews can be like, man, be like a couple of people actually kind of mentioned Swamphead. Never heard of them before. They're out of Florida, and said, "How are you ever going to do reviews by these guys?" And I was lucky enough to get a couple bottles. They actually sent this and another one off to me, so thank you very much, guys, for sending these off. Super appreciative. And here we go. As far as what that is, gratifying creaminess. You can see it right there. Sleep on that motherfucker. Just over a pinky finger. Just off Whitehead, and it definitely has that kind of like orangey, brownish kind of haze that I like in my kind of aged, kind of hopped up beers. It's weird because you're talking about your kind of Imperial, talking about your triple IPAs. They're not American barley wines. You'd almost think they would be, but they're not. The malt and hop base tend to be a bit different. So yeah, it kind of looks in that kind of Devil Dancer 120-ish kind of coloration of it. It's got a nice haze to it, got a nice brownish orange hue. So, yeah. So we can get a nose on her. That's the good stuff right there. You get huge, ample parts of wood. And it's not even like the bourbon. This is the coolest thing about like when I get these bourbon barrel aged hop forward beers, whether it be American barley wines and Imperial ales. The bourbon kind of marries with the hops and brings out something totally different. It's like a super candied tea bag. That's the vibe I usually get from these. It's like instead of being like, oh, I'm getting cherries here, I'm getting sweet bourbon there, I'm getting this soft. It's weird because it has to be this kind of combination of aged hops with that kind of bourbon cherryness that merges into this kind of sweet tea baggy vibe. Now it sounds when I say tea baggy, it sounds like some 14-year-old kid fucking just putting their nuts in somebody's face in a video game. That's not what I mean. I mean, take your herbally, spicy kind of hop presence. You're not usually going to retain a lot of your fruity, kind of more kind of like vibrant, bright, sprightly kind of hop aromas, or even tastes a lot of times when you age hops. they're going to drop out. Typically what you're going to be left with is a lot more spicy, a lot more herbally. So when you're talking about barrel aging a hop forward beer, that's what you're going to get. So combine that with that kind of bourbon sweetness, it gives you this kind of candied herbaliness, which I really fucking dig. Oak abounds, vanilla abounds in this sucker. So you're talking about herbally teabag, vanilla, with a nice sweet maltness to it. So it smells absolutely fantastic. Let's put it this way. It does not to harken to another brewery, but it does remind me of an aged 120. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it's too good. Got to dive in. Cheers. That doesn't suck. That does not suck in any form or fashion. Caramel. To remind me something. Caramel, vanilla, spicy hop, bittering, sweet. Sweet. It's very sweet. Not overly sweet for what it's trying to be. Goodness. Start from the beginning here. It's just biting you with bitterness. The second you take it in your mouth, when you just start to release, that's when that kind of sweet, kind of caramelly vanilla kind of washes over you. And you get like this, like, herbally tea bath of awesomeness, wrapped in oak, wrapped in vanilla. Is a decent, half the amount of oakiness. I mean, the combination of the bitterness and the oakiness is just wanting me to smack my palate to fucking 6 weeks from Sunday. And it kind of just ends with relatively clean for what it's trying to be. It's oak age. It's a big bittering beer, but then it kind of ends with this kind of clean finish. But then you get this kind of build back up of this nice kind of pop bitterness, along with a bit of residual sweetness. It's an interesting beer in that you don't see it that often. That's the thing. A lot of times you get these hopped up offerings. Breweries are afraid to do anything with them because they're so afraid of hops dropping off. So right off the bat, kudos to Swamp Head for actually being like, fuck it, let's take in a big and huge Imperial IPA and age it and bourbon barrel it and do things like that. It's someone that loves old school beer, let's put it that way. They're not from the new school. Whoever had this, maybe they might be from the new school, but they have a love for old school beers. And they know what those beers are like when you used to have these kind of older hop beers age out and be a little bit more spicy, a little bit more herbally, and then just adding that added complexity of the bourbon barrel to the whole mix just makes it absolutely fantastic. Mouthfeel super fucking good. Yeah. It comes off as a aged barley wine, American barley wine, but it doesn't. That's what I wanted to say it does, but it doesn't. It comes off as a bourbon barrel aged and like triple IPA. It gives you those barley wine vibes, but it stops short. There's caramel abounds, there's hop bitterness, hop spiciness, hop herbaliness abounds. The bourbon is okay. It's not super in your face. It just adds a component to it. It's not super boozy, even though the beer is slightly hot because it's 10% beer. But that oak really kind of ties it in for me. I don't know. It's all over the place. If I sat here for another 5 minutes, I'd start rattling off different portions of the beer that I really enjoy. Brass tacks is hop shows up, barrel shows up, bourbon shows up slightly, oak shows up in a big way, but in perfect portions to where I shouldn't say perfect because that's a horrible word to use when it comes to anything that's subjective, but in fun proportions and balance, like enjoyable proportions, to where it ends up being a pleasure to drink. And it's unique enough to where you're like, okay, I've tasted like a couple of beers like this in my life. It's not the rigmarole of the every hop forward beer you've ever had over the past 5 years that is just trying to be the same beer over and over again. And that is super refreshing in a big 10% package. So let's talk about it. Is it one of the better 10% super hop forward barrel aged beers I've had as of late. Yeah, because it's the only one I've had as of late. But it would be up there if other people did it. It reminds me a lot of what Sierra Nevada. It reminds me of 120. We've touched on that, but it also reminds me of what Sierra Nevada does a lot with their hopped up barley wines. They tend to skew super American with the barley wines, and they'll start barrel aging them. Your Bigfoots, your barrel aged Bigfoot, stuff like that. It reminds me of that, but not nearly as dark. A little bit more kind of softer. I wouldn't call it a soft beer, but a little bit more softer. So it's kind of like in that realm. So I'm guessing whoever liked this beer loves 120s, loves Bigfoot or Barrel Aged Bigfoot, because it kind of reminds me of that, but its own entity. It's not cheating. It's not copying somebody. Value and availability? Don't know. I was lucky enough to have somebody fucking send this to me, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much again. So I don't know if it's brewery only, how much it costs, whatever. If somebody wants to chime in, let me know. That would be fantastic. And just say, if you like what, will you like this? If you like interesting, good beer, if you like something outside of the New England hop realm, if you want something that's going to excite you and turn you on, that isn't hazy or juicy or dank, or something that is just, again, it's abound with hops. It has bourbon barrels. So it is in the hipster du jour of what beers that people love nowadays, because it has that, but it's used with a juxtaposition, because you're not used to that kind of super hop forward Imperial IPA with the barrel age. If you like that kind of kookiness, then you'll like this, because that's what it gives you. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you did. Check me out everywhere else on the internet. Massive Beers, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice barrel aged Imperial IPA right now, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.